You're not waiting, you're generating time. And most of you are doing it while you think you're doing the work. And that's why it never ends, right? Time is not created by clocks. Time is created by identity in motion. And I'm going to explain this today. Okay? A lot of you are asking for a little bit more advanced content, and someone asked for a video on time. So here it is today. And I'm going to explain to you where time and how time is actually being generated as distance from your desire, where you might not be seeing that you're creating time, and how I personally just collapsed a 6-month waiting period into 2 weeks for my Japanese citizenship, and how I did that previously for my permanent residency that was supposed to take 1.5 years and took 4 months. And my lawyer said it was the fastest he'd ever seen it happen. All right? Most people are sitting here and they're creating more time while they think that they're in the illusion of doing the work. And that is the core message. All right? So if you guys can't see where you keep creating that time, if you can't see where you keep looping and then you keep just spiraling into the same not having of the desire, need help figuring it out, and you have a couple blind spots, all my info's down below. All right? But let's get right into it. Guys, how are some ways that we generate time? If you understand that time is always being created from the moment of now, from your first person focused awareness of being, and it's always being made through your awareness, both of time, but in other ways as well, right? So you slip back into the old identity of the Vecna mind, you don't realize what you start doing, and then, you're monitoring, or you're checking for results, or you're looking at sales numbers, or I don't know, you're looking at Instagram stories, or my client today who was very embarrassed to admit she fell back into checking on tarot card readings on TikTok and falling into that whole spiral and looking at all the ways and looking for hope and answers and looking to see where the desire is. Right? You focus on fixing yourself, which feels like this moral high ground. At least I'm taking responsibility, or you're trying to heal yourself, or you need to get to a certain point before you can have the desire. But because you're aware that you're not there, you're creating more distance and more time from said desire, right? You're managing the process. You're looking for techniques. You're forcing techniques, trying to get from point A to point B. And you keep pushing and trying and waiting and looking and monitoring and checking, and you're aware of the gap, right? You're aware of the middle between you and fulfillment, and any awareness of that middle that you keep falling down into, that is going back to fusing yourself with the same identity, creates the illusion and the experience of time. So that's why you don't see it. That's why you keep saying, I've been doing this for years and years. I've been doing this for 5 years and nothing's changed, right? I've been manifesting an SP for months and I can't even get a text message. But that's where your awareness is throughout the day. You're not really understanding that you're falling into an identity that creates the inspired action that creates more time. Do you see how it all connects together? Because everything is you. You are the I am. You are absolutely an unlimited, eternal, forever being of consciousness. But within the 3D illusion of the game, you are collapsing the quantum light particles through your first-person focused awareness. And when you are acting as the identity who needs to check, needs to monitor, keeps spiraling, even the thought spirals are generating more time. Because then you take the bait of the 3D mind and you go through this whole spiral, and then you end up and you're like, oh my God, what happened? Then you start blaming yourself, and then you just go right back to square one. So when you start acting as the identity that does the motions that don't even seem related to time, like even checking TikTok tarot cards, that's still putting your awareness on non-fulfillment. Identity that assumes something is wrong or incomplete with you. That's what that is. And as long as you are wrong or incomplete and you keep going back to that identity that is self-created, then you're never going to actually move into the reality where time collapses into who you want to be, right? It creates distance. It creates a process. It creates a journey. It creates another timeline. And all of that is great. All of that is fine, but it's not going to get you the success story of what it is that you're trying to quote unquote manifest into your life, right? Like this whole thing about time is clocks and time is just delay and time is a 3D. Time is none of that, guys. Time is the experience of being somebody who's not there. And then from that, you're acting in 10 different ways that you don't even notice of how you're creating it straight from that identity, because you're not even seeing who you're being. And the result of that identity, the result of those actions is more abundance of time, right? Like you go through these different identities, like the one who's preparing, or the one who's healing, or the one who's working on themselves, or the one who is checking movement, or the one who's making sure that nothing's falling apart in the 3D, or the one who's bracing for impact, right? Or the one who's expecting things to go wrong, or the one who keeps looking at their bank account every 5 seconds, waiting for something to change. The one who is afraid of slipping, or the one who keeps watching themselves and judging themselves and telling themselves that they're doing it wrong. The one who keeps creating more of not being, right? It feels responsible because it's giving you something to do. It feels like you're taking control. It feels like you're doing something correct by managing it, or how we're always taught in the 3 that we need to hold on to stuff and work harder and do more and process and technique and this or that. So you're clicking all the boxes and it feels like you're actually getting closer to being that person. But all it does is imply still not being there. All of those actions just imply that you're not there yet. And it creates more time. It creates more separation. It creates more of a lag between who you want to be and who you're actually being. And again, most people are not even aware of who they're being. So they keep slipping back into that old identity because it feels like this panic, forms up. It feels like it's trying to corner every aspect of your mind, trying to get you to collapse back into it. And the only way to assuage that fear is to then go in and then start doing the actions, because it feels like you're back in control doing something. But by doing that, it's a vicious loop and you're just creating more time and more distance. That's another form of the same loop. It's just another manifestation of the same loop. Anything that keeps you in relation to the end instead of in it is just another form of time. That's all it is. So you cannot see, right? Like you're not seeing the prison you're in. You can't see the identity that you're inside of that's creating time. And you try to understand it by thinking like, oh, okay, well, time is this. So if I just do this, then there's blah, 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 blah. And I just don't have to focus on time and I have to focus on this. But you're not, like, even that way of thinking is still looking at time as this one linear, 1 = 1 type of equation. I say the same thing about money and wealth. It doesn't come from, okay, I did this, so I get this. It's a continually flowing thing that's always being created from right now, but it's always being created from you because everything is you. This is all about learning to control and use your power, and then kind of, put yourself in the shoes of being that person now. This is the law of being, the law of consciousness, the law of assumption is all the law of being. Who are you conscious of being? Who do you say that I am? But based on who you say you are, that either collapses timelines or that creates timelines. And oftentimes people who keep creating the same loops of time don't even realize that they're doing it because it feels like it's completely unrelated. Do you see how it all connects? Identity from the I am, the identity of who you say I am, then projects everything out into your awareness and creates the creation of time, of distance, of obstacles, of issues, of this, of that. All of it is being created from you right now. But time is the one that most people don't even realize they're creating in the moment that they're creating it. So people think they're doing it right. They think they're being it. They think that they're aligned. They think that they're, as long as I do this process and do this and I'm good there. But what they're really doing is just creating more distance from it, right? And that's why a lot of people stay stuck in the community for so long trying to figure it out, because they're not actually seeing who they're being. So they just keep going in the same loop again and again and again, creating more time, creating more issues, creating more obstacles, creating more, whatever the obstacle or condition or circumstance out there is going to be to reflect it back to you. They're the one who's managing or maintaining or hoping or trying to change or influence or manipulate or begging for some type of scrap of information like a tarot card that's going to tell them, okay, yeah, you're on the right path. to give them the permission slip to go there now. All that implies is that you're still not it, right? Like, most people are doing this and they're not even realizing that they're doing it, especially the advanced manifestation crowd, from my experience. Especially the people who are so high up there and they understand all these concepts, but they're still looking at time as this one, cog in the machine, when it's everything all related, because all of it interconnects together as your awareness reflecting out there. So time is just a byproduct of your own awareness, right? Like, in my own life, guys, I collapsed the timeline. One of my first biggest success stories was when I got my permanent residency in Japan. And right after I got it, they started raising the bar and making it higher. I did the advanced high professional something point system one, so I could get it within, I think, 5 years of living here, but I had lived here for 7 or 8 years by the time I did it. And they had told me, oh, it's backed up because of lockdowns and this is going on and that's going on and, blah, 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 blah. It turned around in 4 months. My lawyer literally said that was the fastest I've ever seen it, ever. In his entire time of being a lawyer, that was the fastest turnaround he had ever seen. And I'm doing it right now for my citizenship. I have my Hachimakiang, so I'm studying my kanji for my interview. That was supposed to be in 6 months from now. That they told me all the reasons. Oh, we're getting so many applications. Oh, it's backed up. Oh, it's getting harder. They're putting more pressure on it and more effort on it and this and that and the other thing. Okay. I even went out to Thanksgiving dinner and the bartender, who was half Japanese, half Brazilian, was telling me, oh, don't be disappointed when you don't get it and you're not even going to get to the interview stage and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I got my paperwork in right before the year-end holiday and my case manager called me the week right after saying, hey, I want to get you in ASAP. Like, guys, you can't make this stuff up. Time is you. It's all coming from you. I didn't do a how-to. I didn't focus on the time. I didn't try to change anything or fix anything, right? I didn't move time. I moved me in relation to it. I shifted my identity, and that shifted the time around me, right? Like, most people don't see who they're being in relation to time. They don't even realize that they're creating it right now in the moment they create it, because they're so fused with who they're so used to being. And I know, guys, I know how frustrating that sounds. I get the whole I am crowd and going to I am and letting everything just be, because that is the ultimate truth of all of this. But when you want to play the game and have a certain outcome, you need to put yourself in relation to that outcome. That is Neville's entire teachings. But when you can't even see yourself of how you're looping, you can't even see yourself of the actions you're taking that are just creating more distance in time, that feel natural and normal to you, because oftentimes when it feels more comfortable to go back to who you're used to being, that doesn't have what you want to have, but falling back into those patterns of analyzing or fixing or trying to go over old conversations or planning your next step or thinking about future outcomes and how you're going to handle it when it pops up or what you would do in worst case situations, that feels more comfortable to most people, because that's the identity. That is your dwelling state, as Neville calls it. And that dwelling state feels comfortable. But your end is not there. And as long as you're in that dwelling state, as long as you keep looping, the byproduct is always going to be more experiences of not having. And the most common reflection of that is time. Time is the experience of not having. It's the experience of change and the changeless. I did videos on this. Time can be your absolute friend. Time is not linear. All of that is true. But time is still coming from your awareness of being. It is coming from your identity. Time is identity in motion. That's what time is. And if you don't know what identity you're being that's creating the time, you're gonna just keep looping through the same issues, the same relationships, the same money coming in, the same distance, the same not having, the same almost being there but not quite having it. Reading every little sign from your SP that comes in and getting all excited over a little movement, but not actually seeing it come in, right? Time is not this linear quid pro quo thing of 1 equals 1, so I'm aware of only time, and that's where time exists. So I'm not waiting, so there's no time. Time is in the identity that you're being. Time is in the actions you take from that identity. Are you creating it and not even seeing it? Most people can't see where they're creating time because they can't see the identity that they're being from within the identity. So that's what I do if you need help with that. right? But I want you to remember, time is all you. It's always coming from you. It will always be you. But the question remains, who do you say I am? And are you being the one who's creating time? Or are you the one who is collapsing time?